Hello guys, welcome you all to the Insights into Books podcast. Before we start, kindly follow or subscribe us, and if you want daily summary files of these books, then subscribe us on Gumroad. Links are in description. Now let's start today's discussion, guys. Welcome everyone. Today we're really diving deep into something foundational, principles of effectiveness that honestly were laid out decades ago but feel more relevant than ever.
Absolutely. It's a framework that's incredibly powerful for anyone looking, for real fulfillment, not just checking boxes.
And our sources present this comprehensive strategy. It's not just about work, is it? It's about holistic personal mastery. That's the goal.
Right. And the whole mission today is to kind of unpack these ideas step by step, because the core message is that lasting success, the kind that really sticks. It has to be built from the inside out.
So not just superficial changes then.
Exactly. And that's fascinating because it pushes back against so much of what we see today, doesn't it?
Yeah.
The quick fixes, the life hacks.
The shortcuts.
Yeah. The sources are clear. Adopting these habits isn't like learning a new software program. It's not about external techniques. It demands something deeper.
A fundamental shift, you said.
A fundamental shift in how you see the world, how you see yourself. And this whole idea rests on two really core tenets. Everything else builds on these.
Okay, let's get into those. What's the first one?
The first is the priority of what the sources call the character ethic. This is absolutely foundational.
Character ethic, okay. As opposed to what?
As opposed to the personality ethic. So many people, they chase the personality ethic.
What's it looks like?
It looks like the quick surface level stuff, mastering the perfect handshake, maybe learning a few clever lines to persuade people, dressing a certain way, image management.
Things that can definitely give you a boost, maybe short term.
Short term, exactly. That's the key. They might open a door, but they won't keep you in the room. They don't last because they're not rooted in anything substantial.
So the character ethic is the substance.
It's the substance. Think of it like a giant oak tree. The personality ethic is the leaves. The branches looks good, maybe impressive for a season. But the character ethic, that's the root system. Deep, wide, unseen mostly.
Okay. And what makes up those roots?
Core virtues. We're talking integrity, humility, real humility, not false modesty, justice, courage, patience, industry, simplicity. These are the qualities that give success resilience. They let it weather storms.
Whereas if you only focus on the branches, the personality ethic.
And you neglect those roots. The first strong wind, the first drought that success is fragile, it topples. We see this all the time, don't we?
We do. Incredibly talented people, brilliant minds.
But ultimately crash and burn. Why? Often because they lacked basic integrity, or the humility to learn, or the courage to do the right thing when it was hard. They couldn't sustain trust.
You're saying you have to win those internal battles first, the battles of character.
You absolutely have to. Before you can consistently win or sustain the external victories in your career, in your relationships, anywhere, that's the groundwork.
And that connects directly to the second core tenet you mentioned.
It does. It flows right into it. The inside-out approach.
Inside out, meaning?
Meaning change starts within. You can't expect to have, truly effective, trusting relationships or lead a team successfully or even just manage your own life well if your inner world, your character, your motives, your self-discipline is a mess.
It sounds like common sense, but it's not how most people operate, is it?
Not at all. We tend to look outside, blame circumstances, blame other people, try to change them. The inside-out approach says, no, start with you. Master yourself first.
So self-mastery is the prerequisite for everything else.
For effective interaction with the world, yes. Before you can lead others, influence others, build strong partnerships, you have to lead yourself. You need that internal foundation.
And this inside-out idea sets the stage for the whole journey through the habits.
Precisely. It maps out the developmental path. The habits are designed to move you from a state of dependence where you rely on others for validation, direction, even your emotional state.
Like a child, almost.
In a way, yes. Or someone who just reacts to whatever life throws at them. From dependence, the first set of habits moves you to independence.
That's the private victory you mentioned.
That's the private victory. Habits 1, 2, and 3. They're all about self-mastery, self-governance, winning the battles within.
And only after achieving independence.
Only then can you effectively move to interdependence. That's the public victory. Habits 4, 5, and 6. This is where you learn to cooperate effectively, build high-trust relationships, and achieve things you couldn't possibly achieve alone.
So dependence to independence to interdependence. It's a sequence. You can't skip steps.
You really can't. Trying to build interdependent relationships when you haven't achieved internal independence, it just doesn't work. You end up leaning too heavily or being manipulative or getting walked over. You need that solid core first.
Okay, that makes sense. So before we even list the habits themselves, we need to grasp this underlying framework. Character first, inside-out approach, and its developmental sequence.
Right. And there's one more foundational piece we need to unpack before habit 1. It's about how we see things.
How we see things. You mean our perspective.
Exactly. The sources call them paradigms. If habits are what we do repeatedly, often without thinking.
Like automatically reaching for your phone or maybe, hopefully, automatically going for a run.
Right. Those are the actions. Paradigms are the lenses through which we view those actions and everything else. They're the maps we use to navigate the world.
So a paradigm is my personal map, my worldview.
It's your specific map, yeah. How you see yourself, I'm good at math, or I'm terrible at public speaking. How you see others people can be trusted, or everyone's out for themselves. How you see life, life is an adventure, or life is a struggle.
And these maps, they dictate how we behave.
Fundamentally, if your paradigm, your map, tells you, I'm not leadership material, or making real change is impossible for someone like me, then that perception becomes your reality, doesn't it?
It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. You won't even try for the leadership role because your map says it's not for you.
Precisely. Your map determines your interpretation of events and limits your actions. But here's the incredibly powerful part.
What's that?
Recognizing that these paradigms, these maps, aren't reality itself. They're just representations of reality. And maps can be changed.
We can redraw our maps?
We can. And shifting the lens, even just a little bit, can be absolutely revolutionary. The sources give some great examples of this. Remember the story about Linda?
Vaguely. Refresh my memory.
Linda had this deeply ingrained negative self-image. Her paradigm was basically, I'm not talented. I'm not the kind of person who gets noticed. She genuinely believed she couldn't possibly enter something like a talent competition.
Okay, so her map had very clear boundaries.
Very clear. But then a friend, Rebecca, just kept encouraging her persistently. Maybe Linda just got tired of hearing it.
Huh. Sometimes that works.
Right. And she finally agreed to sign up, maybe just to get Rebecca off her back. It wasn't some big moment of self-discovery initially. It was a tiny external push. But it introduced what the sources call a smidgen of new information.
A smidgen. I like that. What was the new information?
It was simply realizing that someone else saw potential in her that she couldn't see in herself. And then, by actually doing the scary thing, participating, even reluctantly,
It shattered the old map.
it completely shattered the old paradigm. The experience provided new data. She realized, wait, maybe my old map was wrong. Maybe I can do things like this. It changed her entire life trajectory.
Wow. So a small shift, a tiny bit of new data, can lead to a massive change.
Massive. Or think about the journalist example, the one who wanted to cover huge bands like the Beatles, which seemed impossible.
Right, she just started small, being persistent.
Pleasantly persistent. Each small yes she got, each successful interaction wasn't just a win in itself. It subtly altered her paradigm. It built the belief step by step that maybe anything is possible if I just keep trying, keep asking nicely. Changing the lens literally changed what was achievable for her.
So understanding our paradigms and knowing we can change them is crucial before we even start working on habits.
Absolutely, because if your underlying map is flawed, trying to change your behavior, the habits, is like trying to find your way around London using a map of New York. You'll just get frustrated.
You need the right map first.
Yeah.
Or at least be willing to update it.
Exactly. And this internal shift, this willingness to examine and adjust our paradigms, leads us to building something critical for the private victory.
Which is?
Personal security. Inner confidence. The sources call it the personal bank account, or PBA.
Okay, personal bank account. Like a regular bank account, but for self-esteem.
Sort of, yeah. It's a metaphor for the amount of trust and confidence you have in yourself. It's your self-worth, your integrity account.
And this is the key prerequisite for winning those internal battles you talked about. For independence.
It's non-negotiable. Before you can effectively tackle relationships, challenges, public life, you have to have a healthy balance in your PBA. You need that inner reservoir of strength and self-trust.
What happens if your PBA is low? Or overdrawn?
If you're constantly making withdrawals, your self-esteem tanks. You doubt yourself constantly. You become hypersensitive to criticism. You're easily swayed by peer pressure because you're looking outside for validation. You don't trust your own judgment.
So building a healthy PBA is essential for moving from dependence to independence.
Absolutely essential. It's the bedrock of the private victory.
Okay, so how do we make deposits into this personal bank account? What builds that self-trust?
The sources list several key types of deposits. And the first one, it sounds simple, but it's probably the most powerful and the hardest.
You just
Keeping promises to yourself.
giving promises to myself.
Yeah. Think about it. If you tell yourself, okay, tomorrow morning, 6 a.m., I'm getting up to exercise, or I'm going to finish this chapter tonight, and then 6 a.m. rolls around, the alarm goes off.
And you hit snooze 5 times.
Exactly. Or you scroll social media instead of reading the chapter. Every time you do that, you've just broken a promise to the most important person yourself.
And that's a withdrawal from the PBA.
A significant withdrawal. Because you're sending a message to your subconscious, I can't rely on me, my word to myself doesn't mean much. It erodes self-trust at the deepest level.
Wow. Never thought of it quite like that.
Yeah.
So the small things really matter here.
They matter immensely. Conversely, when you do get up at 6 a.m., when you do finish that chapter, even when you don't feel like it, that's a huge deposit. You're reinforcing the paradigm, I am capable, I am trustworthy, I follow through.
Okay, keeping promises to self. What else builds the PBA?
Doing small acts of kindness.
Kindness to others. How does that build my self-trust?
It shifts your focus. When you do something kind, especially maybe something anonymous, without needing recognition, it pulls you out of constant self-focus or self-criticism. It reminds you that you can have a positive impact, that you have value to contribute. It builds a sense of quiet competence and connection.
That makes sense. It combats selfishness in a way.
It does, and related to that is being gentle with yourself.
Gentle. Does that mean letting yourself off the hook?
Not at all. It's not about being lazy or making excuses. It's about how you handle mistakes and setbacks.
No.
It means acknowledging when you mess up, learning the lesson from it, making amends if you need to. And then this is the crucial part, moving on.
Not beating yourself up endlessly.
Exactly. That's probably one of the biggest, most common withdrawals people make from their PBA. Constantly replaying failures, criticizing yourself for past mistakes you can't change. That self-flagellation just drains your inner resources.
So learn, adjust, forgive yourself, move forward.
That's the essence of being gentle. Recognize the past is done. Your power is now. Another huge deposit. Being honest.
Honest with others, obviously.
Yes, but starting with being honest with yourself. Are you living authentically? Are you trying to be someone you're not just to impress people or fit in?
That quote comes to mind. Be a first-rate version of yourself, not a second-rate version of someone else.
That's exactly it. That's internal honesty. Are you aligning your actions with your values? Are you admitting when you're wrong, even just to yourself?
And external honesty, like not cheating, not lying. That builds PBA too.
Tremendously. Every time you choose integrity, especially when it's difficult, like resisting pressure to cheat or telling the truth when a lie seems easier, you make a massive deposit. It builds that deep inner strength, that resilience that lets you stand tall without needing external approval.
Okay, so promises, kindness, gentleness, honesty, anything else?
Yes, renewing yourself. Taking time to deliberately nurture your talents, your mind, your body, your spirit. This ties directly into habit 7, which we'll get to later, but the act of investing in your own growth is a major deposit.
And withdrawals are basically the opposite. Breaking promises, being harsh on yourself, dishonesty, neglecting your talents.
Exactly. Things like beating yourself up, being arrogant, wearing masks, setting yourself up for failure, giving in to peer pressure.
So what does a healthy PBA look like? What are the symptoms?
Oh, they're quite noticeable. Someone with a healthy PBA tends to stand up for themselves more readily. They can resist peer pressure because their validation comes from within.
They trust their own judgment more.
Yes, they trust themselves. They're not constantly second-guessing. They tend to see life more positively as full of opportunity. And, crucially, they can be genuinely happy for the successes of others. They don't feel threatened or overly competitive because their sense of worth isn't dependent on comparison.
That's a big one. The ability to celebrate others.
It's huge. And it comes from that inner security, that confidence forged slowly, deposit by deposit, over time. It's not built overnight.
Right, it's a continuous process.
Yeah.
Okay, so with that strong PBA as our foundation, we're ready to tackle the private victory, achieving independence.
Exactly. Now we can get into the first 3 habits, the habits of self-mastery, and we start with habit 1. Be proactive.
Be proactive. This sounds active, like taking initiative.
It is, but it's deeper than just being busy or taking initiative. It's the absolute foundation of effectiveness. It's the declaration that you are the driver of your life.
Not just a passenger, reacting to whatever happens.
Precisely. The core of proactivity is taking full responsibility, not just for your actions, but crucially for your responses to what happens to you.
My responses. So things happen to me, but I choose how I react.
That's the fundamental proactive insight. Think about it. Something happens, someone cuts you off in traffic, you get negative feedback, plans fall through. That's the stimulus. Then there's your response.
No.
Between that stimulus and your response, there's a space, a moment. And in that space lies your power to choose.
My freedom to choose how I react.
Exactly. Reactive people collapse that space. Stimulus, immediate, often negative reaction. He made me mad. My day's ruined because of them.
They give their power away to the external event or person.
Completely. The proactive person understands. No one can make you mad unless you give them permission. You choose anger. You choose frustration. Or you choose a different response. You own your weather.
Owning your weather. I like that. How does this play out practically?
A key concept here is the circle of influence versus the circle of concern.
Okay, explain those.
Your circle of concern includes all the things you worry about or care about, but have little or no direct control over. Global warming, the economy, politics, what other people think of you, traffic.
My list is pretty long, actually.
Most people's is. Reactive people tend to focus almost all their energy and attention there in the circle of concern. Complaining, worrying, blaming.
And what happens when you do that?
Your circle of concern feels like it gets bigger and bigger, right? It consumes your energy. And ironically, your actual ability to influence things, your circle of influence, tends to shrink because you're wasting energy on things you can't change.
So proactive people do the opposite.
Exactly. Proactive people focus their time, energy, and efforts on their circle of influence, the things they can do something about.
Like what?
Like their attitude, their skills, their work ethic, how they treat people, their health habits, choosing their response, preparing for a test, improving their performance at work, seeking out new knowledge, proactively talking to a boss about an issue instead of just complaining about it.
So they work on themselves and their direct sphere.
Yes. And the fascinating thing is, as you work within your circle of influence, it actually starts to expand. As you become more skilled, more responsible, more positive, you gain influence.
That makes sense. Your actions create ripples. You mentioned proactive language, too.
Huge difference. Listen to how people talk. Reactive language is full of blame and victimhood. There's nothing I can do. That's just the way I am. He makes me so mad. I have to.
I have to go to this meeting.
Right. It implies lack of choice. Proactive language reflects choice and responsibility. Let's look at our alternative. I can choose a different approach. I control my own feelings. I choose to go to this meeting, or I will.
Even changing, I have to do my homework. I choose to do my homework because I want good grades. That shifts the feeling, doesn't it?
It shifts the locus of control entirely. From external force to internal choice, it's empowering.
There was an example in the sources about a football player.
Ah, yes, the one who got benched. Lost his starting spot. A classic crossroads moment.
What would a reactive response look like there?
Sulking, blaming the coach, bad-mouthing the new starter, slacking off in practice because what's the point? Feeling sorry for himself, letting the setback define his attitude and effort.
Okay. And the proactive response?
Choosing his response, deciding, okay, I can't control the coach's decision, circle of concern, but I can control my attitude and my effort, circle of influence. So he chooses to support the new starter. He prepares diligently every single practice as if he were still the starter. He uses the time to work on his weaknesses.
He focuses on what he can control, his character, and his preparation.
Exactly. That proactive choice determines his character and his future opportunities regardless of that specific game's outcome. He's driving his own bus.
And there was another story about Shane, taking initiative to change his environment.
Right. Shane recognized he was caught in patterns, maybe negative influences from his family or living situation. Being proactive for him meant realizing, this cycle stops with me. I can choose a different path.
So he didn't just blame his circumstances.
No. He took initiative. He physically moved, got his own apartment upstairs to create distance from those influences. He focused on his studies with the can-do attitude.
And it worked.
It absolutely worked. He got accepted to universities. He became what the sources call a change agent for his own future, proving that you're not bound by your past or your environment if you choose to be proactive. You can rewrite the script.
So habit 1 is about recognizing you have the pen. You are the writer.
Beautifully put. You have the pen. You are responsible. That's the foundation of independence.
Okay. So if habit 1 gives me the pen, makes me the driver, what does habit 2 do?
Habit 2. Begin with the end in mind. This provides the destination. It's the habit of personal leadership.
The architect, you called it earlier.
Exactly. If habit 1 says you are the programmer, habit 2 says write the program.
Meaning, define where I want to go.
Precisely. It's about defining your ultimate goals, your core values, your vision for your life before you get caught up in the day-to-day rush. It's about asking the big questions.
Like what?
The sources suggest a powerful mental exercise. Imagine attending your own funeral, maybe 3 years from now. What would you want your family, friends, colleagues, community members to honestly say about you? What difference did you make? What character did you embody?
Wow, that's intense, but clarifying.
Very clarifying. Thinking about your desired end result forces you to define what truly matters to you. And that understanding becomes the basis for your personal mission statement.
A personal mission statement. Like a company mission statement, but for me.
Exactly. It's a written constitution based on your deepest values and goals that guides your choices and decisions. It's your personal definition of success.
Why is this so important, especially maybe for younger people?
Because you're standing at a critical crossroads of life, as the sources put it. The choices you make now about friendships, values, education, how you spend your time, they have enormous consequences down the line.
They compound over time.
Hugely. These decisions shape your health, your reputation, who you might marry, your future career path, even the kind of parent you'll become.
And if you don't consciously decide what you stand for, what your end is,
then someone or something else will decide for you. Peer pressure, cultural trends, media influences, your parents' expectations, or just drifting aimlessly, they will fill the vacuum. You'll end up living someone else's script.
that leads to that warning you mentioned. The wrong wall.
Ah, yes. Watch out. #3. The wrong wall. This is such a critical danger.
Explain that metaphor again.
Imagine working incredibly hard your whole life, climbing that ladder of success. You're focused, disciplined, putting in the hours only to reach the top rung and realize.
The ladder was leaning against the wrong building all along.
Exactly. You achieved success, but it wasn't the success you truly valued. You ended up somewhere you never actually wanted to be.
How does that happen?
It happens when people chase external validation instead of internal alignment. Maybe they become stuff-centered, thinking happiness lies in possessions, or popularity-centered, sacrificing their integrity to be liked, or achievement-centered, climbing the corporate ladder without asking if the company's mission aligns with their own values.
They confuse a career with a mission.
That's a great way to put it. They ask, what's in it for me, career, instead of how can I contribute? What difference do I want to make? Mission. Habit 2 forces you to define your mission first so you can ensure your ladder is on the right wall before you start climbing.
So how do you make this mission statement real, not just a nice idea?
You've got to put it in pen, write it down, refine it, keep it visible. A goal not written, the saying goes, is only a wish.
The act of writing makes it concrete.
It makes it tangible, powerful. It focuses your intent. Remember the football player example again? The one who needed to gain weight?
Yeah, the skinny freshman.
His goal wasn't just a vague, I want to get bigger. It was a meticulously written plan, born from the end in mind. Starting player, specific weight.
What did the plan involve?
It was incredibly detailed. 8 meals a day, breakfast, lunch, dinner, counted as only 3 of them. Specific workout routines. Mandated 10.5 hours of sleep, no missed practices, even if sick. It was his personal mission statement for physical transformation, written down and executed over 4 years.
4 years. That's commitment.
That's beginning with the end in mind and having the architecture to get there. The result. He achieved his goal. 180 pounds, starting position by senior year. The written plan, the clear vision, guided every daily choice.
So habit 2 gives you the blueprint, the destination. It ensures you're climbing the right wall.
Exactly. It's your personal leadership, defining what matters most.
Okay. Habit 1, you're the driver. Habit 2, you have the map and destination. What's habit 3?
Habit 3. Put first things first. This is the executor. It's where the rubber meets the road. It's about translating your vision, habit 2, into day-to-day action fueled by your proactivity, habit 1.
So this is about time management, discipline.
It's about priority management and execution, which requires discipline, yes.
Yeah.
It hinges on 2 key powers, willpower and won't power.
Willpower and won't.
Willpower is the strength to say yes to the important things, the things aligned with your mission, even when you don't feel like it. Won't power is the strength to say no.
Say no to.
To less important things, to distractions, to urgent but unimportant demands, and crucially, to peer pressure that pulls you away from your values and goals. Saying no is often harder than saying yes.
Definitely. So how do we know what the first things are?
This is where the time management matrix comes in. It's a powerful tool for understanding where you spend your time. It divides activities into 4 quadrants based on 2 criteria: urgency and importance.
Okay, break down the quadrants.
Quadrant 4 is urgent and important. These are crises, pressing problems, deadline-driven projects, things that demand immediate attention. We have to spend time here, but living here leads to burnout.
Makes sense. What's quadrant 2?
Quadrant 2 is important but not urgent. This is the magic quadrant. This is where proactive work happens.
Like what kind of activities?
Planning, relationship building, identifying new opportunities, exercise, learning new skills, preventative maintenance, writing your mission statement, studying before the test, things that build long-term capacity and quality of life.
But because they're not urgent.
They're easy to put off. They don't scream for attention like Q1 crises, so people neglect them.
Until they become Q1 crises.
That's there.
Right. Neglected relationship becomes a fight. Lack of planning leads to a deadline disaster.
Exactly. Now, quadrant 3 is urgent, but not important. Lots of interruptions, some meetings, unnecessary reports, responding to other people's minor issues immediately. This quadrant is deceptive because urgency often masks lack of importance.
You feel busy, but you're not actually effective.
Precisely. People who live in Q3 often lack the won't power to say no. They react to everything. And quadrant the 4th is neither urgent nor important. Time wasters, trivia, mindless scrolling, excessive TV, pure waste.
So habit 3 is about focusing on quadrant 2.
It's about significantly increasing the time you spend in quadrant 2, the important but not urgent activities. That's where true effectiveness lies. And the key strategy for this is using the big rocks analogy.
The big rocks. Tell me about that.
Imagine you have a large jar, some big rocks, some pebbles, and some sand. The jar represents your wick. The big rocks are your most important quadrant 2 priorities, maybe a major project, quality time with family, exercise, planning time. The pebbles are smaller tasks, and the sand is everyday stuff, emails, interruptions.
Okay.
If you fill the jar with sand and pebbles first, just reactively doing all the little urgent things, what happens when you try to put the big rocks in?
It won't fit. No room left.
Exactly. But if you put the big rocks in first schedule time for your most important QII priorities in your weekly plan, then the pebbles and sand can fill in the spaces around them.
So you prioritize the important, not just the urgent. Schedule the big things first.
Yes. It requires planning, usually weekly planning, identifying your key roles and the most important actions, big rocks, for each role that week, and scheduling time for them. You work on your life, not just in it.
But doing these important QII things,
Yeah.
sometimes they're hard or scary.
Absolutely. Which brings us to the comfort zone versus the courage zone.
Explain those.
Your comfort zone is where things are familiar, easy, low risk, hanging out with the same friends, doing things you know you're good at, avoiding challenges. It feels safe.
But not much growth happens there.
Very little. Growth, learning, making significant progress that happens in the courage zone.
Which is?
Trying out for the team when you might get cut, applying for that challenging job, speaking up in class, making new friends, taking on a leadership role, anything that involves risk, uncertainty, potential failure, or stepping outside your usual routine.
It takes courage to operate there.
Immense courage. Putting first things first often means choosing the courage zone over the comfort zone. It means facing fear.
Ah, fear. The big stopper.
The ultimate inhibitor of quadrant 2 activities. The sources mention something fascinating about fear.
Okay.
Surveys often show that the #1 fear for many people isn't heights or snakes or even death, which often ranks second.
Was number 1.
Public speaking. Fear of judgment, fear of failure in front of others.
Wow, that says a lot.
It does. Fear is powerful.
Yeah.
It causes countless missed opportunities, the conversation you didn't start, the idea you didn't share, the chance you didn't take. The sources are crystal clear on this. Never let your fears make your decisions.
Easier said than done, though. How do you overcome that fear?
You acknowledge it exists, but you don't give it the power to choose for you. You act despite the fear. You focus on your purpose, habit 2, and take proactive steps, habit 1. And you embrace the idea that winning is nothing more than rising each time you fall.
Like Babe Ruth and his strikeouts.
Exactly. Remembered for the home runs despite striking out way more often. Failure is part of the process of stepping into the courage zone. You decide the fear is there, but it doesn't get a vote.
So habits 1, 2, and 3, together, proactivity, vision, execution, build that inner strength, that independence.
They forge it. They build the character and competence that allow you to stand on your own 2 feet, governed by principles, not by fleeting moods or external pressures. That's the private victory.
Okay, so once you've achieved that private victory, that independence, where do you go next?
Now you're ready for the public victory. This is the move to interdependence, covered by habits 4, 5, and 6.
Interdependence, meaning working effectively with others.
Exactly. Realizing that together we can achieve far more than we can alone. But effective interdependence relies entirely on the foundation of independence built in habits 1 to 3.
Why is that?
Because if your personal bank account, PBA, is strong, if you have that inner security and self-mastery, you can approach relationships from a place of strength, not neediness. You have something to offer.
And the key to these public victories, these relationships, is?
Trust. And the metaphor shifts from the personal bank account to the relationship bank account, RBA.
Okay, RBA, similar idea, but between people.
Yes. It represents the amount of trust, confidence, and safety built up in a relationship. Like the PBA, you make deposits and withdrawals through your interactions.
And you need a positive balance for a healthy relationship.
Absolutely. And here's where the sources emphasize something crucial. The little things are the big things.
Meaning small gestures matter a lot in relationships.
Immensely. RBA deposits aren't usually grand, dramatic events. They're the small, consistent acts of consideration and kindness.
Like what specifically? What are these RBA deposits?
Keeping promises to others is huge, just like with the PBA. If you say you'll call, call. If you commit to helping, help. Reliability builds trust.
Makes sense.
Small acts of kindness and courtesy, remembering someone's name, a genuine compliment, holding a door, showing appreciation. These small courtesies oil the machinery of human interaction.
Being thoughtful.
Yes. Another big one, listening deeply. Truly listening, which is habit 5, we'll get there, is one of the highest deposits you can make. People feel valued when they feel heard.
Okay. What else?
Saying, I'm sorry, sincerely when you make a withdrawal, when you mess up or overreact. A genuine apology can restore trust quickly if there's a history of deposits.
If the account isn't already overdrawn.
Right. Also, setting clear expectations. Vague or unmet expectations are a major source of withdrawals and conflict. Being clear up front prevents misunderstandings.
And you mentioned loyalty earlier.
Absolutely critical RBA deposit. Being loyal. This means speaking about people supportively when they aren't present. Defending them against gossip. Not sharing confidences. Loyalty builds trust faster than almost anything.
And conversely, disloyalty, gossip, massive withdrawals.
Massive, devastating withdrawals. The example of the friend who believed rumors over the actual relationship. That instantly bankrupts the RBA. Gossip corrodes trust like acid. You have to guard the trust you've built.
So building these high-trust RBAs is the groundwork for effective collaboration.
It's essential. Because the first habit of interdependence, habit 4, think win-win, requires a foundation of trust and mutual respect.
Think win-win, so seeking outcomes where everyone benefits.
Exactly. It's a mindset, a philosophy of human interaction that seeks mutual benefit in all agreements and solutions. It's not about me getting my way or you getting yours. It's about us finding a better way together.
This sounds ideal, but is it always possible? Some situations seem inherently competitive.
That's where the underlying philosophy comes in. Win-win is rooted in the abundance mentality.
Abundance mentality.
It's the fundamental belief that there's plenty out there for everybody. Plenty of success, recognition, profit, joy. It's not a zero-sum game where your success means less for me.
As opposed to?
The scarcity mentality. The belief that life is a limited pie. If you get a big piece, there's less for me. Scarcity fuels competition, comparison, jealousy, territorialism. I have to win, which means you have to lose.
So the abundance mentality allows you to genuinely want others to succeed.
Yes, because their success doesn't diminish yours. It actually makes collaboration possible. Now, back to your question about competitive situations, like a single promotion.
Right. Only one person can get it. How is that win-win?
The abundance mentality doesn't deny reality. In a truly scarce situation, win-win might mean finding a creative alternative. Maybe one person gets the promotion, but the other gets a key developmental assignment. Or maybe you agree on fair criteria beforehand. Or maybe the win is preserving the working relationship regardless of the outcome.
So win-win isn't always about splitting the prize 50-50. It's about the approach and preserving the relationship.
It's fundamentally about seeking mutual benefit and respecting the relationship. The spirit of win-win can exist even when resources are limited. It contrasts sharply with the other approaches.
What are the other approaches the sources mention?
There's win-lose. This is the authoritarian or competitive approach. I get my way, you don't. It breeds resentment and works only from a position of power. Think forced compliance.
It's like the stereotypical aggressive negotiator.
Right. Then there's lose-win. This is the doormat mentality. Go ahead, have your way with me, anything for peace. People pleasers often fall here. They sacrifice their own needs and self-worth.
Which builds up internal resentment, I imagine.
Absolutely, and it's unsustainable. Then there's lose-lose. This happens when two win-lose people clash, determined to bring the other down, even if it means destroying themselves. Think bitter lawsuits or revenge.
And finally, win. People focused only on getting what they want, regardless of others' needs.
Right. They don't necessarily want others to lose, they just don't care. It's self-centered.
Yeah.
Only win-win leads to sustainable, positive, interdependent relationships.
So, to truly operate from win-win, we need that abundance mentality. And the sources warn about two specific obstacles.
Yes, the tumor twins, competition and comparing.
Competition can be healthy, though, right?
It can be if it's used purely as a motivator for self-improvement, like competing against your own past performance. But when competition becomes about establishing superiority over others, fighting for status, popularity, grades, attention, it becomes destructive to win-win. It reinforces scarcity.
And comparing.
Comparing yourself to others is probably the quickest way to undermine your own self-worth and the abundance mentality. It's futile because everyone's journey is different.
The analogy of the trees.
Exactly. The poplar tree shoots up fast. The bamboo tree seems to do nothing for years, then rockets up 90 feet. They grow on completely different schedules.
So comparing your bamboo sprout to the poplar is pointless and discouraging.
Utterly. Your worth comes from your alignment with your own mission, habit 2, and your progress against your potential, not from looking sideways at others. The only valid comparison is you today versus you yesterday. Excising those tumor twins is crucial for maintaining a win-win attitude.
Okay. Build trust, RBA. Think win-win, habit 4. What's next for the public victory?
Habit 5. Seek first to understand, then to be understood. This is the habit of empathetic communication.
Seek first to understand. This sounds like listening.
It is listening, but a very specific kind. Empathetic listening. The sources argue this is the key to real influence. Why? Because people fundamentally don't care how much you know until they know how much you care.
And feeling understood makes people feel cared about.
Exactly. It fulfills one of the deepest human psychological needs, the need to be understood, validated, appreciated. When you offer that understanding first, you make a massive deposit in the RBA.
So what does empathetic listening actually involve? It's not just hearing words, is it?
Not at all. Most of us listen with the intent to reply. We're formulating our response, judging, agreeing, disagreeing, relating it back to our own experience while the other person is still talking.
Guilty as charged.
We all are. Empathetic listening means listening with the genuine intent to understand, to see the world from the other person's point of view.
Yeah.
To understand their feelings, their meaning, their perspective, not just the literal words.
So trying to get inside their frame of reference.
Yes. Putting aside your own autobiography, your own assumptions, and just trying to grasp the reality. It involves listening with your ears, yes, but also with your eyes for nonverbal cues, and your heart for the emotions.
What happens when someone feels truly understood like that?
Defenses drop immediately. Psychological air is restored. They feel safe, respected, validated. And only then do they become open to your perspective, your influence, your advice.
The example of the college roommates helping the anorexic student.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't jump in with advice.
No. Their first focus was simply building trust, making her feel welcome, and understanding her pain and isolation. The helping came much, much later, built on that foundation of empathetic understanding.
So what are the barriers? What are the poor listening styles we fall into?
The sources identify several. Spacing out. You're physically there, but your mind is elsewhere. Nodding along, but not hearing a thing.
Been there.
Pretend listening. Making the right noises. Yeah, right, but still not really engaged.
Also familiar.
Selective listening. Only hearing the parts of the conversation that interest you or confirm your biases.
Okay, and the worst kind.
Self-centered listening. This is listening from within your own frame of reference with the primary goal of responding. It takes 3 common forms. First, judging. You listen primarily to evaluate, to pass judgment on whether you agree or disagree, approve or disapprove. You're forming your verdict while they talk.
The second.
Advising. This is jumping in with solutions and counsel based on your own experience, often before the person has even finished explaining their problem. Oh, you should just her. Here's what I did when that happened to me.
Like the brother example.
Yeah.
Giving his sister advice when she just wanted him to listen.
Exactly. He meant well, but he wasn't seeking to understand her feelings first. And third is probing. Asking lots of questions, but from your own agenda. Digging for details before the person feels safe enough to share them.
Like the parent grilling the kid. How was school? Fine. What did you do? Nothing.
Right. The intent might be good, but the approach feels like an interrogation and shuts down real communication. Empathetic listening avoids all of these. It focuses on reflecting back the feeling and meaning you hear without judgment or advice initially.
Like the son reflecting his father's worry about grades.
Perfect example. Instead of defending himself, the son said, "Dad, it sounds like you're really worried." That reflection opened the door for the father to share his deeper concerns and regrets, creating real connection. Understanding came first.
Okay, so that's the first crucial part. Seek first to understand. What about the second part? Then to be understood.
Only after you've made the deposit of understanding, after the RBA is high and the other person feels heard, should you focus on expressing your own point of view.
And how should you do that?
With clarity, respect, and courage. Because you've earned the right to be heard by listening first, you can now present your ideas logically and confidently, even if it's a difficult message. You need both sides for true communication.
Empathy first, then clarity and courage. That makes sense. Habit 5.
Leads us to the peak of the public victory habits.
Which is?
Habit 6. Synergize. Creative cooperation.
Synergy. The word gets thrown around a lot. What does it actually mean here?
Here, synergy means that the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. It's the highway of interaction. It's what happens when two or more people, valuing their differences, work together to create something better than any of them could have produced alone. 1 + 1 = 3, or 10, or 100.
So it's not compromise, where 1 + 1 = 1.5.
Exactly. Compromise often means everyone gives something up. Synergy means everyone gains by creating a new, superior third alternative that incorporates the best of all perspectives.
And this relies heavily on the previous habits. Trust, RBA, win-win, habit 4, understanding, habit 5.
Absolutely. Synergy is only possible in high-trust environments where people genuinely value differences and seek mutual benefit through empathetic communication.
Valuing differences. That seems key. How do people typically handle differences?
The sources describe 3 levels. The lowest level is to shun differences. People are afraid of those who think, look, or act differently. This leads to prejudice, cliques, intolerance.
Okay, level 2.
Tolerate differences. This is better than shunning. It's accepting that others have a right to be different, but it's often grudging acceptance. Okay, you do your thing over there, I'll do mine here. Differences are seen as hurdles to overcome, not assets.
And the highest level.
Celebrate differences. This is the synergistic approach. It means actively valuing diversity of opinion, perspective, talent, background, realizing that differences aren't threats, they're opportunities.
Opportunities for what?
For creativity. If everyone in the room thinks exactly like you, you're not going to generate many new ideas, are you? You just reinforce existing patterns. But if you bring together people with different viewpoints, different strengths, different intelligences, as the sources say,
then you get sparks, new combinations.
Exactly. You see things you couldn't see alone, you create better solutions. Recognizing that everyone is a minority of one with a unique contribution is the heart of synergy.
So how do you do synergy? Is there a process?
Yes, the sources offer a practical synergy action plan, especially useful for resolving conflicts or tackling complex problems together. It's a 5-step process.
Okay, walk me through it. Step 1.
Define the problem or opportunity. Get clear on what you're actually trying to solve or achieve from all perspectives. Make sure everyone agrees on the issue.
Step 2.
Their way. This is pure habit 5. Seek first to understand the other person's or group's perspective, needs, concerns, and wants. Listen empathetically until they feel understood.
Step 3.
My way. The second half of habit 5. Clearly and courageously explain your perspective, needs, concerns, and wants. Seek to be understood.
So mutual understanding first, then what? Step 4.
Brainstorm. Now that the needs and perspectives are clear and understood, you collaboratively brainstorm potential solutions. The key here is no judgment initially. Generate as many creative options as possible, building on each other's ideas. Think outside the box.
Get all the possibilities on the table.
Yes. And finally, step 5, the highway. Evaluate the brainstormed options and collectively choose or create the synergistic solution, the one that best meets everyone's key needs and is superior to the original positions.
The family vacation example illustrates this well, doesn't it?
Perfectly. Remember the conflict. Child wants to stay home with friends, parents want family time together and are worried about safety, seemingly opposing positions.
Right. Win, lose, or lose, win seemed likely.
But they use the process. Step 1, define problem, conflicting needs. Step 2, parents understand child's need for independence friends. Step 3, child understands parents' need for family time safety. Step 4, brainstorm ideas, split week, friend comes along, etc.
And step 5, the highway solution was.
The child stays home for the first part of the week, meeting independence need, then takes a bus paying their own way by doing a chore, proactive choice, to join the family for the second half, meeting family safety need.
A solution better than either original proposal. Neither side had to fully compromise their core need.
That's synergy. It took trust, understanding, and creative problem solving. It achieved interdependence.
Wow. Okay, so habits 1-3 for independence, 4-6 for interdependence. That covers 6 habits. What's the last one?
The final habit is what sustains all the others. Habit 7, sharpen the saw. Continuous self-renewal.
Sharpen the saw. Like the woodcutter story. Too busy sawing to sharpen the saw.
Exactly that analogy. Habit 7 is about taking time out regularly to preserve and enhance your greatest asset. It's about preventing burnout and ensuring you remain effective in all areas over the long haul.
So it's not about resting from the other habits, but about renewing the capacity to live them.
Precisely. Renewal isn't a luxury, it's an absolute necessity for sustained effectiveness. Neglect renewal and your saw gets dull. You become less productive, less patient, less creative.
The sources mention people who excel in one area but fall apart elsewhere.
Yes, the warning against being emotionally messed up despite brilliance in, say, art or business. That often comes from fanatically focusing on one dimension of life while completely neglecting others. They lose their balance, their perspective, their overall effectiveness.
So renewal needs to be balanced
Right.
across different areas.
Across 4 fundamental dimensions of human nature. You need to regularly sharpen the saw in each area.
What are the 4 dimensions?
First is the body, physical dimension. This is about caring for your physical self through exercise, healthy nutrition, and adequate rest.
What kind of exercise? Run marathons.
Not necessarily. The recommendation is consistent, moderate activity that you enjoy and that fits your body, maybe 20, 30 minutes, 3-4 times a week. Listen to your body, be sensible. Good nutrition is similar balance, moderation, avoiding extremes.
And the warning about substances.
Crucial for the physical dimension. Actively avoiding addictive substances, alcohol, drugs, tobacco. The sources point out they're linked to leading causes of death, especially for young people, and how they directly destroy the physical asset you're trying to maintain.
Okay, body. What's the second dimension?
The brain, mental dimension. Sharpening the mental saw involves continuous learning, reading, expanding your mind. Education shouldn't stop when formal schooling ends.
That quote about reading.
The person who doesn't read is no better off than the person who can't. It's about actively seeking knowledge, exploring new ideas, thinking critically, resisting mental stagnation.
And avoiding that nerd syndrome pressure. Acting dumb to fit in.
Yes, that's mental sabotage. Don't let short-term social pressure lead you to make long-term detrimental choices about your education or intellectual growth. Keep learning, keep questioning.
Body, brain. Third dimension.
The heart, social-emotional dimension. This is renewed primarily through relationships. Making consistent deposits in your key RBAs, spending quality time, practicing empathy, thinking win-win, synergizing, building and nurturing connections.
And laughter.
Yes. The sources specifically highlight the importance of humor and laughter for emotional renewal. It reduces stress, improves creativity, connects people, helps cope with difficulties, actively seek out humor, build a collection of funny movies, books, jokes. Lightness is restorative.
Body, brain, heart. What's the fourth?
The soul, spiritual dimension. This is about connecting with your core values, your inner self, your sense of purpose. It's often a very private area.
How do people renew this dimension?
Many ways. Spending time in nature, meditation, prayer, listening to inspiring music, reading uplifting literature, journaling, quiet reflection. It's about taking time away from the noise to reconnect with what gives your life meaning and peace.
The sources also mention media consumption here.
Critically important for spiritual renewal. Treat your mind and soul like an athlete treats their body. Be mindful of what you feed it. If the media you consume, music, movies, news, social feeds, leaves you feeling depressed, angry, agitated, or cynical.
It's like spiritual junk food.
Exactly. It's dulling your spiritual saw. Choose media that inspires you, uplifts you, makes you feel hopeful, peaceful, centered. You become what you consistently expose yourself to.
So body, brain, heart, soul, 4 dimensions for regular renewal. But the question remains, time. How do you find time for all this?
Ah, the eternal challenge. As Larissa, the student in the sources, pointed out, it feels impossible sometimes.
But the argument is, you can't afford not to.
Precisely. Neglecting any one dimension throws the others out of balance and ultimately reduces your overall effectiveness and capacity. Sharpening the saw isn't taking time from your work or responsibilities. It's investing time in your ability to do them well. There has to be time for it, even if it's small amounts consistently. Balance is key.
So habit 7 circles back and makes all the other habits possible long term.
It fuels them. It keeps the engine running smoothly. The entire framework shows this beautiful progression. Master yourself first, independence, then build effective relationships, interdependence, sustained by continuous renewal.
It really is a cycle, isn't it? Not just a linear path you finish.
An upward spiral, ideally. Each loop through renewal strengthens your ability to live the other habits at a higher level.
So wrapping this all up, it's quite a journey. From understanding your paradigms and building self-trust, through the private victories of proactivity, vision, and execution, into the public victories of mutual benefit, empathy, and synergy, all kept sharp by renewal.
It's a comprehensive model for effectiveness. And it's important to remember, as the sources emphasize, it's not about being perfect.
It's the great balancing act, you called it.
Exactly. You will get off course. You'll slip back into reactive habits. You'll forget your mission sometimes. You'll have relationship withdrawals. That's human.
So the goal isn't perfection.
The goal is awareness and course correction. It's about having the map, your principles, your mission, and continually coming back to it, making small adjustments, picking yourself up after a stumble, and keeping hope alive.
Because, as the sources suggest, you are destined for great things.
That underlying belief in potential is powerful. The path isn't easy, but it is possible. And perhaps the most provocative thought to leave with is this.
Go on.
If true effectiveness starts from the inside out, with that personal bank account, what single small deposit could you commit to making today? Just one promise to yourself, one act of honesty or kindness or self-care that you know you can keep.
Because that small act builds momentum.
That small, deliberate act of integrity with yourself. That's where the whole journey begins. That's the first step on the path to becoming truly effective.
A powerful place to start. This was it on today's book, guys. Guys, kindly subscribe and follow us for more such insights on various books, and also do not forget to join our social media community to stay in touch and get updates.